They told me to leave her behind, but I couldn't. Because how do you abandon someone who's already fighting to protect not just one life, but many? It was supposed to be just another evening, a regular walk down the alley behind the old bakery. The air smelled faintly of bread, and the world seemed quiet. But then I heard it, a faint, desperate meow. And when I turned the corner, I saw her, a frail, pregnant cat, trembling in the cold, her wide eyes silently begging for help. What I didn't know was that her story wasn't just heartbreaking, it was a fight for survival that would test every ounce of hope I had left. She was skin and bones, her fur matted and dirty, her belly round and heavy with kittens she clearly struggled to carry. Every step she took seemed like it hurt. I couldn't walk away. But as I crouched down, she flinched, her tiny body shrinking back in fear. She had clearly been through something awful. Who could have abandoned her like this? Or worse, hurt her? I needed to help, but here's the thing. I had no idea how. I wasn't a vet. I wasn't even sure she'd trust me. And time was running out. The bitter wind cut through the alley like a knife. And her fragile frame looked like it couldn't take much more. But what could I do? If I took her home, I'd be risking her health and my own resources. The shelters were full. They'd told me that time and time again. And worst of all, the moment I got closer, I noticed something chilling. She was bleeding. I wrapped her in my scarf, carefully lifting her into my arms. She was so light, like she was more air than body. Her breaths came shallow, her eyes half closed. I whispered, "You're safe now, I promise," even though I wasn't sure if I could keep that promise. I rushed her home, setting her down in a box lined with old towels. She didn't move much, but her eyes followed me as I scrambled to find food and water. When I set it in front of her, she hesitated, then devoured it like she hadn't eaten in days. But the bleeding wouldn't stop. Panic gripped me. What if she lost the kittens? What if I couldn't save her? The nearest emergency vet was an hour away, and I didn't have a car. Every call I made for help went unanswered. My mind raced. Should I try to help her myself? Should I risk moving her? Every decision felt like it carried the weight of her life and the lives of the unborn kittens. As the hours passed, I stayed by her side. Her purring was faint, like a fragile hum, but it was there. It gave me hope. Finally, I managed to borrow a friend's car and drive her to a vet clinic that agreed to see her after hours. The vet's face was grim when he examined her. "She's severely malnourished and stressed," he said. "If we don't act quickly, we could lose her and the kittens." I felt tears sting my eyes. "Do whatever you can," I begged. The surgery felt like it lasted forever. I sat in the waiting room, staring at the clock, the world blurring around me. Every second felt like an eternity. And then the vet came out. "She made it," he said, smiling softly, but it was close. She gave birth to 3 kittens, all alive. She's a fighter, that one. Relief washed over me so suddenly I started crying. They let me see her and the kittens, and the sight broke my heart all over again. She was curled protectively around them, her eyes half closed but peaceful for the first time. The kittens were tiny, wriggling balls of fur, each one a miracle. She looked up at me when I approached, and for the first time I saw trust in her eyes. It's been months now. She's no longer the fragile, trembling cat I found in that alley. Her fur is shiny, her eyes bright. She plays with her kittens, who've grown into mischievous little explorers. I named her Hope, because that's what she gave me. She reminded me that even in the darkest, coldest moments, there's a light worth fighting for. Her kittens have all found loving homes, but Hope stays with me. She's my shadow, my reminder that kindness can change lives, not just hers, but mine too. Stories like Hope's are happening everywhere, and together we can make a difference. If this story touched your heart, hit that subscribe button and join me in sharing more tales of resilience and love. Let's be the hope that every animal deserves.